So hello and welcome to the Human Behind the Career Brand podcast. I'm the host, Jeanette Walton, a career brand consultant and Humans Matter champion, committed to helping others deep dive into their many human facets that make them unique, fabulous beings. Research is indicating that humans more than ever are craving human connection across both professional and personal or consumer contexts. And that's despite and maybe even because of the onslaught of AI and other digital technologies. So my primary mission with this podcast is to inspire each of us to value and appreciate our multifaceted strengths, experiences and offerings, both as professionals and as human beings. And to highlight that human stories and connections will always matter, both personally and professionally. So my next guest for this podcast series is Julie Knox. Julie is a highly experienced career practitioner who I've crossed paths with for many years now. She's the owner of Blue Sky Career Consulting that she started up in 2013 and has also been a career coach mentor through the Career Development Association Australia since 2022. Something those who've encountered Julie in a more professional context might not know is that she's also an avid jigsaw puzzler, particularly speed puzzler. Julie only recently got into jigsaw puzzling a couple of years ago, but she's quickly become an active participant in Australia's puzzler community. She now travels around the country to attend speed puzzling events and recently attended the Australian Jigsaw Puzzle Association's national competition in Melbourne. Still self-defining herself as an average speed puzzler, Julie sees many internal and external benefits from continuing with this hobby, as we're going to delve into in this discussion. So welcome, Julie. So lovely to have you on the podcast.
Thank you so much for inviting me on. I'm pleased to be here.
I can't wait to hear about the world of puzzling. I really don't know much about it. So first, I just want to ask you, I guess, how did you discover the world of puzzles and why is it now a passion of yours?
Yeah, so I think I was always a jigsaw puzzler as a child, It's one of those things that I remember doing when I was quite young with my granny and grandpa in Scotland, and we'd have the dining table out and a big 5,000 piece puzzle, and occasionally I think they'd be like helping me put one in. So it's always been part of my childhood, as it is for many of us.
Yeah.
I think when my kids were born, again, I was always one for buying puzzles, and I think I probably enjoyed them more than they did, doing the Peppa Pig ones and that type of thing.
I remember the Dora the Explorer with my daughter.
Yeah, that's right. So it was probably a little bit easier then. But it was probably in COVID that I think I got back into it. As many of us, we find ourselves in lockdown and it's like, okay, what are we going to do? And everyone's kind of holed up and a little bit bored. So it was, okay, let's pull out the puzzles again. And so I think it was at that time I kind of got back into it, doing kind of more casual puzzling, thousands, etc. And it was at the end of sort of COVID and things that I sort of discovered that speed puzzling was an actual
I've never
thing.
heard of
I
it.
hadn't really been knowledgeable of that, and I think it was relatively early in its existence. And I'm consider myself quite a competitive person, so when I found out I could actually do this hobby in a competitive way, I was like, oh yes, sign me
Even
up.
better.
Even better. But I think, and not to share too much at the early stage of this conversation, but I think it was at a time of my life when I was needing something else. I was
Yeah.
struggling a little bit with, we were all coming out of lockdown. I was, hitting that perimenopause stage of life, which, as women, we don't talk about enough. Hence,
No, we don't.
happy to share it. And, just struggling with a few things and waiting
Yeah.
for a proper diagnosis as a lot of us go through. And puzzling really allowed me to focus. It's for
Yes.
like that hour, 2 hours, whatever you're doing, your brain's just in it. So I really considered it a little bit of a form of meditation and
I
a
was
bit
just thinking that's like
more.
I do yoga. Yeah.
Yeah,
Shut off
right.
to everything else.
So absolutely, you're so in the moment that it actually was a bit of an escape for me. And I think, that was a number of years ago. And since then, it's just grown into an ongoing, as you said, an ongoing passion that I really love.
And do you have a dedicated space in your house for it now?
I do.
Ha ha
The
ha.
dining table does get taken over quite a lot. I do have so in speed puzzling, in actual in-person competitions, you are usually given half of a standard trestle table. So I do have a sheet of core flute, like that you can buy from Bunnings, that is measured out to the right space. So I can only puzzle within that space. But that board does get put away when it's dinner time, etc. It doesn't take me too long. I can do it. It's not like it gets left out overnight or anything.
And that's a range of puzzles behind you, I would assume.
I know.
Yes?
This is my
Got
office.
quite the collection.
It is my workspace and puzzle room a little bit as well.
So in addition to the personal benefits of allowing you to focus and meditate to some degree doing puzzles, is there anything else that you think has brought you benefits from puzzling in personally?
Yeah, I do actually. I think on that additional sort of personal level, as well as, like you said, that kind of focus, etc. But I think just having something outside of work, outside of the kids, outside of, the gym days, etc., that was just a hobby for me. It was absolutely lovely. And from that have met a whole bunch of amazing, wonderful new friends and puzzle community, which has also been a huge benefit. And I think as well, like, of an evening, you're like, okay, I've worked all day and it's just the temptation to doom scroll or, and it was just a different thing that actually felt a little bit more productive than the standard TikTok scrolling. So I think, there's been a number of benefits that I think on a personal level has been.
I love that it's really opened up a new social circle. I imagine there's all sorts of online groups and stuff, yeah?
Yes, huge community all over the world, but Australia's got a really growing community, which is awesome. Yeah.
Something I did not know about. And what about if we think about it from a professional perspective? How do you think puzzling benefits you professionally?
Good question. I suppose it has created a network of potential clients for sure.
Yeah, of course.
As well, what it's probably given me in that sort of professional sense is that real sense of work-life balance. Sometimes, you can quite easy burn out, particularly as a business owner. Like the temptation is there to just work. And so having something outside has allowed me to say, no, this is you're finished for the day and this is your time off. And so when I am at work, I'm more focused, etc. And who knows? I mean, there's been some studies done in terms of that sort of cognitive benefits. I don't know if there's been enough studies done, but maybe
there must be some, yeah.
I would like to think that it keeps your brain a little bit sharper.
Yeah, so, a bit like doing crosswords, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right.
So, just a little statistic. I always do a statistic in these chats. About the topic. So it's been estimated that around half of American adults enjoy jigsaw puzzles, with over 1.8 billion sold annually in America. Why do you think that is that so many adults are returning to jigsaw puzzles?
Yes, that's quite an impressive stat, isn't it? I think probably a number of reasons, and I think it's quite a global thing. And jigsaw puzzles date back to the 1700s. I think they were invented in the UK and they've been around for such a long time in various ways and shapes and forms, etc. So I think it's just something that's always been there. I think one of the great things about whether you're a casual puzzler and you have, 1,000 pieces out on the dining table that's there for however long, or you're a speed puzzler like me, it's quite an accessible sport. You don't need to be spending hundreds of dollars. You can go to your local op shop. You can buy a $5 puzzle. You can swap with friends.
Imagine there's trading going on too.
All the time. Like most of these that you see behind me are secondhand,
Yeah,
so,
okay.
And I'll, be always swapping, etc. So I think it's really accessible. I think also you don't have to actually be very good at it to enjoy it, which is quite nice.
You can take as long as you want, yeah?
Absolutely. And even in speed puzzling, yes, the goal is to be as fast as you possibly can. But there's a bit of a saying in speed puzzling that you're not really competing against others. Like the top puzzlers are. I'm definitely not one of those. But you're really competing against the puzzle and yourself. You're trying to better your own times. And so I think for most people, having that very low entry barrier, anyone can pick up a puzzle. It's very cheap to do. It's pretty easy to do. You can get faster. There's a great social element if you want it. I think that's why it's a really popular and massively growing in terms of speed puzzling.
Yeah, sounds like it. There's a whole society out there that I wasn't aware of.
Indeed.
And we both know Amanda Anastasia, who I've done this podcast with, who's a poet. And she talks about how poetry helps you to slow down and reflect. And I imagine puzzling's probably the same, yeah? Slow down
It
and
does, except
reflect.
the goal is to be as fast as you can.
Oh, well, except when you're doing the speed puzzler aspect. But in general, if you're at home, end of
No.
the day, doing a puzzle, it helps you to slow down, yeah?
It does. And even though when speed puzzling, you're still not caught up in the daily rat race. You
Yeah.
can be really involved and focused in the puzzle. And, if the kids speak to me while I'm not really listening very much. So I have to
You
kind of pause the
in the
timer.
puzzle zone. In the puzzle zone.
Exactly. I'm so in the zone. So the family have learned and the husband's learned not to kind of interrupt when, give me an hour and I'll be done. It's fine.
It's your time. It's your time. Yeah, I love that.
That's right. And so
Yeah.
I think it does allow us to, like any hobby or niche hobby, I think it's just an opportunity to, do something different and not just, on that life treadmill. It's, we work
Something for
hard.
you. Something for you for some pleasure.
That's exactly right.
And a healthy way to have
Yeah,
some
I
me
hope
time.
so. I hope so.
Yeah.
It's there, and it's funny because obviously there's a healthy in terms of mentally healthy and
Yeah.
but there is a
Mentally healthy.
physical element as well.
Okay.
Most speed puzzlers will stand for the entire time they do a puzzle. So
Right.
there's an element of core strength
Wow.
that has to happen as well.
Why is that? Is that for better access?
It is. It's better access, but also you're just a little bit more focused. There's a temptation when you slow down to just casual puzzle. And so
Ah.
when you're standing, there's a sense of urgency that comes with that.
Right. Okay,
And
there you
so
go.
it takes a while to get to the level where you can stand for a whole puzzle because, the back does
Yeah.
get a little bit impacted, but it definitely helps if you can. So there's an
Yeah,
element
wow.
of core workout that's beneficial as well.
What would you define as your main superpower as a puzzler?
Superpower. Not sure I have a superpower. I think so.
What have you learnt about yourself?
Yeah, sure. No, I think in terms of what I'm good at, I suppose in terms of puzzling. So in my team, we're called the Puzzle Fairies, and
I love it. Love that name, Puzzle Fairies.
yeah, it's good. And I'm the edge builder typically. So I'm a good edge builder. Even when I'm individual puzzling, I like to do the edge first 99% of the time. And so the team, will be sorting, etc. I'll be building the edge. And I'm also what's called a feature builder. So if it's a really busy puzzle and I've got a friend who's great at kind of what we call picking and placing, so she can pick it
Yep.
up, she can just find it. Whereas give me a block of color or a building or an animal or a specific texture and there's 50 bits, I can put it all together quite quickly. That's kind of what I'm better
Wow.
at compared to some of the other
So
things.
there's
So there are
so
puzzles that I'm better at than others for sure.
and there's specializations within a team.
100%. Absolutely. A good team has a really broad skill set, as it were. So,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, for sure.
I
And
am
in
learning
pairs as well.
I am learning so much about your puzzling world.
Yes.
So
Good.
what would you say drives you to travel and participate in speed puzzle competitions?
So, the great thing about puzzling is you can do it at home. Absolutely. Just need a space. But the fun is to compete, right? That's kind of the goal. So,
Yeah.
and another great thing about speed puzzling is there are online competitions that you can participate in, which are great, but those in-person ones are awesome. So I typically attend local Sydney-based in-person competitions. I do some online, it's usually about once a month. And then I try, and certainly this year, I'm going to try to get to as many state competitions. So the Australian
Yeah.
Jigsaw Puzzle Association, the AJPA, they run a sort of national competition, but also one in most states and territories in Australia. And I think it's just being in the room with, 1,000, 300, 500, however many, whatever size the competition it is, other puzzlers is great, right? Because you're there with all people who love doing what you're doing. And the competitiveness ramps up a little bit, but
Yes.
also it's just so social,
It's a great
It's
energy.
so absolutely. You just chat with everybody and because it's so accessible, it brings youngsters, it brings older people, it brings people from all backgrounds. So in a lot of sports where you've got to be pretty good, or you're all a kind of similar age or demographic
Yeah.
or whatever. This is so varied, which is fantastic.
So it's bringing all the demographics together.
Absolutely. It allows you to really meet people that you potentially wouldn't normally meet. And I absolutely love
Yeah.
that part of it as well. So, and everyone's super friendly. We kind of pride ourselves in the puzzle community that we have the best, the best,
Yeah.
most friendly community.
You're making me think I need to come and try the puzzling
Right? Come on,
community.
have a go.
I'm not very good at puzzling though. I haven't done it since I was a child.
That's okay. You might have a hidden talent, Jeanette, that you
Well, this
in
is
there.
true. I guess I'm just trying to think when you're at these competitions and stuff, like you're probably not chatting much while you're puzzling, are you? But it's
No.
outside of the puzzling you
Yeah, that's exactly. So at the Nationals, for example, this year it was a 2-day event, and day one was qualifying, solo qualifying. So there was two groups, I think of around 300 participants, Group A and Group B, and then the top half of each group qualified for the next day, which was the solo final. But also on day one was our teams event, and then on day two was the solo final and our pairs event. So in between those events, there's a lot of socializing, there's a lot of puzzle swapping, there's stalls, there's a lot of puzzle merch these days. Is the puzzle
Yeah, I see
t-shirts,
you.
puzzle holders, puzzle
Puzzle
stands.
branded there, yes.
Exactly. They're more than just the puzzles. Absolutely, we're all there for the puzzling, but there's a real sense of community and growing small businesses that have come out of it, which is excellent as well.
No, that's coming through strongly, and everyone I've talked to on this podcast series about their passion, horse riding, poetry, voluntary work, uniting two different countries. But it broadens your community, your sense of community, which is really valuable, isn't it?
So valuable, especially when there's a lot of division, and it's easy to get kind of siloed into, particularly with the algorithms, and they're always just feeding you what you like, where
Yes.
to be able to meet different people from different backgrounds, it's wonderful. I love it.
Yeah, great. So what would you say is your favourite type of puzzle and why?
Okay. So for speed puzzling, we typically do 500 pieces. That's a traditional speed puzzle. And so that would certainly be my preferred size of puzzle is 500. These are all mostly 500. In terms of sort of other brands, I suppose, I do like a Ravensburger, as you can see from most of these, but only because the quality is good. And as a
Yeah.
puzzler, like, we don't want flimsy pieces that
It
break.
really matters, doesn't it, the
or
quality?
Yeah, it does really matter. And so there's a lot of new brands coming out, which is fantastic. And I think they're, keying in that speed puzzling is a growing demographic.
It's a
and
thing,
there's a
yeah.
certain type of puzzle that people look for. It's not, we don't always want the hardest puzzle. We want puzzles that have, lots of colors or different textures, or, that makes a good speed puzzle. And so I like bright colors, I'm much more drawn to that. And
I would be, yes.
just
What about
something that's
art?
a fun
Are you
image.
drawn to stuff?
Yeah, that's right. Like, we try and sometimes Ravensburger, I'm not sure if they use AI images. I think they try not to. But we try as a community to stay away from too many AI images. You want to
Yes.
support artists. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
there are some really great artists that most puzzle brands use. There's a lot of great artists out there who are now specializing in puzzle design, which is fantastic. And so, yeah, that's, my ideal is a nice, colorful 500 Ravensburger puzzle that's been designed by a human person.
Lovely. Love that. Yeah, the human design still really matters too, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does.
What would you say has been your most outstanding achievement to date as a puzzler?
Okay. I would say, because I'm definitely not one of the top puzzlers, that's out there. There's some incredible speed puzzlers who are
What
mind-blowing.
would the top speed be roughly of someone doing a 500
So
piece?
an average top speed is somewhere in the early 30 minutes. Now,
Wow.
if you pick up a puzzle, no offense, but it probably take you a couple of hours at least.
At least.
And so these people are so fast.
Yeah,
I
wow.
think for me, I did once get something. I think it was 35 minutes, which was one I had done
That's
multiple
impressive.
times and, had practiced quite a few times, and was a relatively easy puzzle.
Yeah.
but that's not something I would do very, very regularly. I think most of my times are around an hour 10 or something, which is still decent. And I think I call myself an average speed puzzler because we do have a website called myspeedpuzzling.com if
Yep.
anybody's interested, where everybody puts their times globally. It's a free thing. You can go and compare your times and it shows you the average. So my goal is always to hit the average or
At least the
slightly,
average.
yes, or slightly better, which most of the time I am. And I think as well, just coming back from nationals this year, I was pleased with my solo. I was pleased with my pairs time, but our team was awesome, and we came 11th out of 150 teams, which was super amazing for us. It was really good. We were really proud of that. So that was a real
Amazing,
achievement to be.
Yeah,
So
you've had
next
some
year,
real,
top 10.
yeah, that's some great achievements. Well done.
Yeah.
So I've just got a couple of final questions that I ask everyone who comes on. The first one is, if the world and your life was to end tomorrow,
Okay.
what would your reflection be on the way puzzling has helped you to live a more fulfilling life?
Ooh, okay.
We're getting deep here.
Yeah, right. I think genuinely it has been the friends that I've met along the way, and they're still like, we're having a pre-Christmas puzzle day this weekend, which will be
Love
great
it.
with
Love it.
all my friends coming around. I think that has been a real highlight. I think also it has just allowed me, as well as the community, to have this, focus, like we've been talking about, that kind of mental support that it brings.
Yeah.
It's been also just really fun. Do you know, it's something I actually super love, and it's so nice when you find something that you genuinely love.
Yeah, you can tell it brings you joy, a lot
Oh
of
my God,
joy.
so much fun. Love it. Absolutely love it. I'll do at least one, if not two puzzles every day because I
Wow.
love it. Right. And it's just easy
It's
and
not
it's
a
there.
chore, it's you want
Yeah.
to do it.
So fun. So I think that's also a sense of fun, sense of community, and hopefully good for the old brain.
Yeah, and like you said earlier too, that switching off from work, yeah? Switching the brain off.
Absolutely. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Lastly, and this you'll appreciate this being in career development like myself. This is humouring me as a career branding with the career branding focus. What
Okay.
would be your ideal career branding to convey you as a multi-dimensional human who also enjoys jigsaw puzzles? So I guess if we think what the core brand elements would be
Mm,
that interweave your jigsawing in addition to what you do as a career.
yes. Okay. And absolutely, that's certainly part of what we do at Blue Sky is to really help people with their branding. So I should be able to answer this. I should know my
Yeah.
own branding. Look, I
Ha ha
think
ha.
I think for me, I've always seen my branding is sort of a few elements. Yes, I take what I do very seriously. I love it. I'm really passionate about careers. I'm really passionate about helping people in their careers. So I think with that comes a level of expertise and knowledge and professionalism that absolutely. But I think I've always come at careers and how we approach clients with a bit of a sense of fun and a little bit of pragmatism in there. I'm
Yeah.
definitely a realist.
Keep it grounded, yeah?
100%, like our core values as a business, and I think for me personally is always been about combining that expertise with that real approachableness and not taking ourselves too seriously. And
Yeah.
also I think finally it's probably finding, certainly for me and having my own business, and I'm sure you appreciate this, is, and I hope I convey this to my clients, is a sense of balance in life. And career is so important, and we absolutely want to get that right, but we want that job to allow you to also have things outside
Better
of
balance.
things that you love and things that you enjoy, and have a great career and a great job, but also have a great life. So that's kind
Yes.
of how I would hope that I've created my branding is that kind of
And
balance.
I guess, yeah, leading by example in terms of creating that better balance, yeah? With your puzzling on the side.
Absolutely. That's 100%. So that's exactly what I always aim to do with clients, is help them find the career that they love, but that works for them as a human as
Yeah, that
well.
there's so much more to us than just our jobs, yeah, which is
Yeah,
part
for
of the reason
sure.
I'm doing this podcast. Well, that's all the questions. Is there anything else you'd like to add in terms of how people could get involved in puzzling?
Absolutely. We're always looking for new people to come and join the sport. We absolutely love it and very welcoming. I think the easiest way is on Instagram or Facebook is to look at the Australian Jigsaw
Jigsaw
Puzzling
Puzzle Association.
Association. They have loads of great resources if you want to find out about events near you or you want to just meet others on an online community. But if you want to get involved or you're interested, just go and pull out that puzzle from the back of the the back of the cupboard or nip down to your local op shop and just go buy yourself a
Get
couple of
started.
500s and have a go. You never know, right? You might absolutely love it like I do.
Julie, you've really inspired me to try a puzzle. I
Right.
remember trying them a little bit when my daughter was young, but she did it more with my mother, actually, like you were
Oh,
talking about with your grandparents. Yeah, it sounds like a fabulous community, though. I think I'm going to have to
yeah, it
pull a
really
puzzle
is.
out and see
Yes,
how I go.
please do. Absolutely. I'd love to help.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Julie. Thank you. I know you're a busy lady. Thank you for coming on and talking about the world of puzzling. I learnt so much, and I'm sure others will who listen to this.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. Take care.